Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are having a great day. We see Palantir Technologies that actually holds pretty steady, closing slightly in the green, a successful day here after the market actually brushes off a few days of losses due to the fact that NVIDIA's dominance triggered a great reversal. NVIDIA up about 6 to 7% in the day that washed over a lot of the losses that we saw within the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. This does show you the power that NVIDIA itself does have in the market. And we're also going to be covering a very interesting article about Palantir that really covers kind of share price predictions if we see its compounded annual growth rate that continues at a consistent rate here by the end of the decade. So if you are a new or returning viewer, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Now, what we see here for Palantir Technologies, closing here at 24.56. The 24 has been in an interesting point because that was a resistance level for PLTR, but now we see establishing some micro support levels. We need more time to elapse before I call this, more of actual a fundamental or stronger support level, such as the 20. But what we do see for PLTR is trading volumes that actually decreased to about 30 million. But one thing that I am liking in terms of the analytics side of things from data is that daily short volume fell off of a cliff. And we see that PLTR only had a total short volume of 4.36 million compared to the day before of 9.14 million. Less than 50%. And what this tells me is that institutional investors, the majority of those that are taking short positions, have kind of switched their perspective in terms, at least in the short term here, to more of a bullish perspective. So it'll be interesting to see how PLTR trades going for the rest of the week, and especially as we've seen resistance at the 26, could we possibly get another run up there in the near future? Now, talking about what this rare buy rating and why this buy rating has been justified, particularly by the firm that has released it. Now, with PLTR valued at about market cap trickling at about 53 million, we see it kind of corresponding to about the $24, $25 share price per share. Now, Argus is really bullish on Palantir stock. We've seen this before, especially after they initiated the coverage with the buy rating at a price target of $29. Now, they use the argument about expanding their data management analytics services here into the private sector, which we've seen with AIP, and that has been incredibly successful with the amount of boot camps that have been released or have been conducted since its launch, over 1,300. In commercial, business accounted for 45% of the total sales in 2023, 38% derived from international markets. And we're seeing the continuation of these commercial business accounts that continue to grow just with the contracts that we're seeing that are being reported in the media and in earnings reports for PLTR. And in terms of the last quarter earnings, even though we had a slight change in future guidance, PLTR still continued to show substantially well and great reported earnings. Now, talking about PLTR and what all the analysts are basically combining here to say is that the average 12-month price target is $21.47, a discount to Monday's close. And where we sit right here is a mix of analysts that are saying overvaluation, they rate it as a strong sell, and people seeing the bright future for PLTR and the potential, rating it as a strong buy. But for PLTR right here, an interesting revenue growth metric, and how it helps report here for now 6 consecutive quarters. You have, of course, the S&P 500. That is a big milestone that is still sitting on the table. Analysts are expecting PLTR to expand its earnings by 85% annually in the next 5 years. So what that reports to at the end of 2028 here with an adjusted earnings in terms of our prediction is $5.50 per share. Now, this is priced also at 30x forward earnings, and PLTR, if it trades at this type of valuation, corresponds to $165 per share, indicating a potential upside of about 600%. Let's take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, MooMoo. Now, MooMoo is your one-stop trading app that offers free commission trading along with very powerful investment tools, making it easier for you to make those confident decisions within the market. Right now, new users can sign up utilizing my welcome bonus down in the description, and you can get up to 8.1% limited time APY on uninvested cash and up to 15 free stocks with a deposit. You also can get up to a $300 transfer in bonus, so you do not want to miss out on those rewards. Make sure you check out MooMoo down in the description. Back to the video. And getting back to why this is interesting, especially here with PLTR, is because we're seeing these large increases in commercial revenue climb and commercial customer count that is continuing to be reported quarter after quarter. And we'll see what happens here with the next quarter that starts being talked about more and more frequently. Next announcement date is about 8/7. That's what the estimations are, at about 8 cents per share. Now, that's going to be creeping up about a month from now, but it is not something to ignore, and we'll be talking about it more frequently as the time does approach. Now, talking about what happened here in the market, specifically how NVIDIA rebounds and is back to masking the losses for the rest of Wall Street. The S&P 500 right now is sitting at an interesting spot, basically nearing its all-time high. And specifically what we're seeing with that, the strength here is coming from NVIDIA that has an incredible reversal. NVIDIA swings up basically about 6%, and including the after hours here, 7% on the day, closing here at 126, and even at the after hours at $127. What we're seeing here in the after hours, also FedEx popping up here over 14%, and even Rivian Automotive just announced a huge deal after Volkswagen Group said it would invest up to $5 billion in this electrical vehicle company. Rivian right now in the after hours is up over 48%. Now, NVIDIA jumping 7% does show you that there's a lot of buying momentum and pressure that is still behind the artificial intelligence sector and this individual stock in particular. We see the AI demand is not showing any signs of slowing down, and this does show you that the S&P 500 and if NVIDIA continues to grow at these very high rates, then the S&P 500 in that market will continue to surge. And with this, we also have important inflationary data that will be released here in the near future. They're going to be shifting their attention towards Friday, that is going to be the release of May's Personal Consumption Expenditures Index. And the reason why this is really important is because the Federal Reserve has been really keeping a close eye on inflation, because the PCE index data is basically a large gauge that the Fed uses to determine the probability of cutting those first interest rates. We're hoping for rate cuts. That's what the market is expecting, and hoping to see at least 1 to 2 rate cuts by the end of 2024. If we see any large changes in what the pattern of data is starting to trend at, of inflation is starting to trend at, then we could possibly see a lot more volatility. That is more switching towards a sell-off in the market. However, right now, things are still looking bullish across the board, and we'll be keeping you guys up to date on a daily basis. Peace out, take care, and I'll catch you guys later.